Hey everybody, and welcome to another movie talk with me, Penty. This time I watched Bad Times at the El Royale, or better said, I rewatched Bad Times at the El Royale, a movie set in the '60s, featuring mainly four main protagonists who go to a hotel on the border of California and Las Vegas called the El Royale, known for its dark and mysterious past. And the hijinks that sort of ensues later as you start to realize who these characters are, what their motivations are, why they're at the El Royale, and so forth. This movie is full of a star-studded cast. It is directed by Drew Goddard, but it is starring in its big cast Jeff Bridges, Cynthia Erivo. I have it all right here. I'm going to butcher some of these names. Dakota Johnson, John Hamm, Kaylee Spaney, Lewis Pullman, and Chris Hemsworth, Thor himself, Hemsworth. But yeah, all these people are in this movie as they play very interesting characters. I can't go too deep into some of these people, but they overall do in my point of view, a very enjoyable job. I watched this in theaters originally, and so I thought my dad would like it, so I picked it up on 4K and let him have a watch of the movie so that I could just sit down and enjoy it again. And since I'm talking about movies now, I thought I'd come down and talk about my thoughts of it since. Sometimes the movie feels a little disjointed. If you do get lost in plots, it could be sort of like the Witcher TV show, which for me didn't get me horribly lost, but I had read the books. But for a lot of people, it did confuse them on what the heck was happening at what times. That can happen a bit in this movie. You get introduced to a vacuum salesman, a what we learn singer, a priest, and I'm gonna call her "fuck you," just a hippie looking girl. As they arrive at the hotel, all for the nefarious needs, the movie does kick off with a guy pulling up floorboards in the hotel, hiding a bag, and getting killed at the very beginning. So we know that there is some sort of mystery happening here at the El Royale and what these characters go through. I don't want to say too much more because it gets too much into the thrill, and that is part of the movie is getting you in. You follow the characters. Essentially, they follow them by room. So the first character you follow is the vacuum salesman and why he is there at the El Royale. And as you follow him, it switches between him to the singer to other characters in the series, using their room numbers to mark them. I don't remember. I think they do have names. They do give them names, but they're not as important to the story. Like, it's more of a side thing. It's just more about the hijinks that takes place. To put it simply, it is an enjoyable thriller. If you want to know how simplistic the plot is, I'm literally on the Wikipedia, and the plot is a couple paragraphs, like to summarize everything that happens in the movie. It's a good thriller. I think most people weren't like super sold on it, and I think maybe Knives Out might have been a better version of this. I know Knives Out is another thriller that I probably should watch. But I really enjoyed it. I think I like Chris Hemsworth character. I like the person. I don't know what name it is. It's the person who plays the a bellboy, I guess is what you would call him. Essentially does everything for the hotel, cleans it, changes the room, stuff like that. I liked his character. I thought he did a great job. Matter of fact, I keep seeing him and thinking, man, what if you put him and Tom Holland in a movie next to each other? It'd just be like two dudes that are almost identical. But yeah, like they make some relatively compelling characters, and the mystery is really what drives it. I think it's really enjoyable. And I like to focus on that. That's my favorite part. The hotel is fun because it's set up where you have California on one half and Nevada on the other. So in the California half in the '60s, you can drink alcohol, but in Nevada you can't. So there's like these fun, interesting things of like that aspect of the hotel coming around, while for now, at least, most of the mystery, other than that, comes from later stuff that I don't feel comfortable talking about because it'll ruin. I feel it will. It happens pretty quick, but I think it's part of the enjoyment is you want to get caught up in the mystery. And if I explain something, I might be over explaining to the point where you know too much that they don't really want you to know. So for me, overall, I think they did a good job. I think it's a quality movie, a movie I could watch every now and then. It's not a movie I'm going to die to watch again. Like, a way I'd put it is like I've sat and thought about Parasite and another movie that I have a review for coming up, The Killing Fields that I watched. Those movies I look at and go, man, I could watch those again. I could watch them on my own. I could recommend them to people to watch. This would be like, oh, you want a fun movie to watch tonight? Have you seen Bad Times at the El Royale? Sweet, we should watch that. That type of movie. So overall, that's about everything I have to say. It has some enjoyable music, especially for the time period. Um, but honestly, on that movie, just because it's a rewatch, there's not much else I have to say. I mean, like, it's very character driven. That's the idea of the film. It's character driven with that mystery and how those characters interact with it. But that's really all I have to say. This might be one of my shorter ones because there's not much else to say. I guess that's a thing. A showing of the movie has this huge star-studded cast, but there's really not a ton for me to say. It's just a mystery that gets solved and does a decent job of telling it. If you want some teasers into what's coming up next, I just picked up 2 new movies in 4K. I don't know why, but I always have them sitting on my desk when I make these. So I have a one that was really well received, and I just have never seen it. It's The Joker featuring Joaquin Phoenix. I'm very interested to see that. And this other one was more because I've heard about this movie. This guy makes all these really interesting movie ideas, but they are sort of random. It's a Color Out of Space. It's a Nicolas Cage movie. I guess it's so we don't get that. Look at that ring light in there. That looks terrible. There we go though. Color Out of Space. It's a Lovecraftian movie that features Nicolas Cage, and I feel like Nicolas Cage just loves to make these underground horror-ish films, because he had Mom and Dad, I think is what it was called, and I didn't watch that, but I heard it was good for how crazy the idea was about a mom and dad who are brainwashed trying to murder their kids, and then he's making a Five Nights at Freddy ripoff movie. But overall, I'm excited to get into those. Tell me what you thought. If I should go back and watch maybe some more movies just in 4K and tell you my thoughts. I thought this one translated great. It has lots of great colors and stuff. Bad Times. But overall, tell me what you thought about this movie. If you liked it or enjoyed it. I talked to my coworkers. They weren't sold on it. They both, one didn't like it and one didn't finish it. But for me, it was good. It was enjoyable, and it was good. A good little revisit, and I think my dad enjoyed it. Had to explain a bit, but overall, a good little movie to sit down and watch, especially if you can pick it up on the cheap. But yeah, leave a like, leave a comment. Feel free to subscribe. But other than that, have a good one. I'm Penty.